Bit of a change of scenery for us this week. We are forest camping, which is something we haven't done in this rig yet. I was a little worried about all the trees affecting our solar output, but no issues so far, and it has been cold at night up here on this mountain, but the heater's been working great, keeping us nice and warm inside of here. So definitely a nice little change of pace for us this week. I've been logging a ton of hours at my jobs all week, and Greg has been busy editing videos, but today is both of our day off. Greg and Piper are currently out right now, and I have the bus to myself for the first time in a while. While they're out, I am going to get to work here in the bus. So there are quite a few things in here that need a little bit of maintenance and a little bit of repair. Lots of things in here break all the time, but most of them are not that big of a deal. Typically, what I like to do is take a whole afternoon and kind of just work on everything that needs to get done so that everything is back in working order. Without any further ado, I'm going to get my tools out and I'm going to get started here. Let's get to work. So the first thing that I'm going to tackle is this bad boy right here. So this is our Lagoon table mount that we love dearly. The only problem with it is that the base plate that's attached to the front of our static panel on our couch here is bolted in, which is typically fine, it's strong, but the nuts on the back have started to kind of spin loose, so there's a little bit, you can kind of see, I don't know if you can tell, kind of see how this shifts this way. It shouldn't do that, it should be perfectly static. So I have to disassemble the whole couch area here to get behind this front panel and just get a wrench on those nuts and tighten them down. This should be a quick one, but you've heard that from me before. I like these handles. It can be a pain to get started. The cool thing about this mount is that you can take the table and boom, gone. So this is the base of the Lagoon mount. So this is the thing, you can't really see any play in it when the table's not on there, but this is the thing that we're going to tighten. So this whole section of our couch, he's going to lift up and I'm going to get back there with a wrench. One thing I made sure to do while I was building the vast majority of the systems in this bus, including stupid things like this little plate here, is give myself access. In our first rig, I struggled all the time with having access to the things that broke. I was always having to tear things down or just pray that some individual piece never had a problem because there was just no way to get to it. So there's access to all of the important stuff all the time. Like just for example, our entire electrical system is housed underneath this couch, and all you have to do is lift all of these sections to get at literally all of the major components. And that's already come in handy a few times. That's two. Nice and easy. I left quite a good amount of access in between the static panel here and this 2x2 that's a support for the couch. I really like this panel design because it allowed me to do things like mount stuff directly onto the front of the couch. All these other panels, you know, this one to the left and the one on the end next to the freezer, those panels slide all the way forward, which means that if you had wires or anything that was attached to it, they would need to move with the entire piece of the couch. And that's, you know, obviously a lot more complicated. The less moving parts you can have for wiring, better off you are. Greg and I kind of brainstormed this one together. This was tough to come up with. There's lots of couches that look like this, but there wasn't anything that did exactly what we wanted it to do, you know? Okay, I feel like that's already a million times better. I'm gonna call this one done already. I think that was a whopping 15 minutes. So the next thing that we have going on concerns these two guys, but particularly the small drinking faucet here. So both of these right now do a little bit of this. This one is not as bad, it's just the base here. It should swivel up here. So should this one, right? It should spin like this, but this piece down here, I mean, you can see that, that's ridiculous, right? Obviously, we want to put a stop to that. There is some softer plumbing under there that could get tangled and potentially broken if there was a lot of spinning going on over time. And we never want any water leaks that we can prevent, ever. It's the same kind of issue. These have little nuts that screw onto threaded pieces on the bases of each of these things, under the sink and behind where they're both mounted. With the vibrations and things shaking loose as we drive, they have just come unscrewed. The difficulty on this side is that the sink is huge. Right? It's super important to have a big sink to, you know, fit big dishes, because if you have a small unfunctional sink, doing dishes is a huge pain. So we put the biggest sink in that we can fit, which is awesome in the day-to-day, but it makes it a very huge pain to get behind it and to work on these two specific things. Just want to show you the tricky part here. So what we're looking at here is obviously under our sink. So the space that we're trying to get at Let me see if I can take you back here so you can see. But that line right there is the one that runs into the drinking water faucet. So we need to get a wrench on that. And if you kind of look at the setup that's going down here, I got to try to like wedge my body in between this piece of PVC and then reach up there and try to get a hold on things. So this is not the first time I've done this, and I know it's kind of a pain, but hopefully with clearing out this entire floor space, it won't be quite so bad today. So I'm going to take the same crescent wrench I just used on the other table, and I'm going to do my damnedest to get back under here and see if I can't just wrench it on that loose nut there. Without disassembling this, I don't really have a lot of other great ways to get back here, so I'm hoping to avoid that. So we're going to try to just brute force it with a crescent wrench. And my head barely fits between those things, but I have a big head, so maybe that's the problem. The other issue is I gotta get this turned the right way. I don't think I can do it from underneath, nor will I know which direction it needs to go in. Right now, the drinking water faucet is facing the wrong way. I'm gonna flip it around and try to brace it there, so that way it stays there while I'm tightening the nut that is underneath in the back here. That way it doesn't spin while I'm trying to actually get it to tighten down. I just stuck our vacuum cleaner behind it, and it seems to be working. Let's try this again. It's a flattering angle. Hello, YouTube. Ooh, I could probably do some of this by hand. It is very loose. What's interesting is this one actually does have a little lock washer on it, but it seems to be doing absolutely nothing to keep this from spinning. Honestly, I think that might do it. That seems tighter than the last time I had it. Let's go take a look up top and see if it worked. So you can see here, I just stuck our little dust buster behind it to hold it in place. Moment of truth. Haha, rock solid. Look at that. Boom. So this can still spin, still goes over the sink that way. There's a little bit of play, just a little. I think I might get back under there and tighten this just a little bit more. I really want it right there, so it matches the other one nicely. We're gonna put this back here just in case it decides to move. But another half turn or so won't hurt, and that way I can be sure this will last for a little while. I want you to think about this if you're doing a build. Remember what I said about access? This is one area in which I failed. But I got a couple of turns on each screw. I think that might do it. Maybe we can be done with this one already. Let's check this one again. Oh yeah. Oh, that's so much better. It doesn't even want to spin at all now. That is perfect and exactly where I wanted that handle. Good. Let's take a look at this guy. Oh, that's perfect. That's not doing anything at all. That one really wasn't as bad. I'm not so worried about this one coming loose so much. Plenty of tightness there on that little plate on the bottom, and plus that one's so much harder to get to. I think I can live with that. These are rock solid. I'm totally happy with that. I don't think I need to climb around down under there anymore in order for these to be good for a good long while. And we're gonna call that 2 jobs down already in under an hour. That's pretty good for my going rate for completing jobs in a given day. The next thing that I want to take a look at is quite a bit more involved. So let me kind of walk you through what we've been dealing with here. Basically, for our freshwater tank, there is a water inlet. That's a tube that goes into the tank so we can add water. Then there's an air vent so that as the water comes in, the air that's in the tank can get out. And currently, when we are filling our tank, water comes shooting out of the water fill line almost the entire time. So what we think has happened is that some of the plastic from originally when we were installing fittings on the tank, or maybe some other debris, has gotten trapped in that air vent line, and it's causing the air to have to find another route out of the tank as the water's coming in, hence forcing water out of our water inlet tube. So I need to go back into the garage and see what is going on and see if I can identify the problem and maybe clear out some debris in that line, or see if there's something else that might be contributing to it. Let's put everything back underneath the sink, and then we'll go outside and see what we got going on. I know that you know I saw it. Your words like little knives. So we did find the source of the problem. So this hose, this big one here, is our water inlet. So on the other side of this is the cap that we, of course, unscrew and dump water into this, and this flows in through that way into our freshwater tank. This clear one is the vent tube. So this is where the displaced air, when the water flows in, this is where the air is supposed to go out. So you can kind of see here, that little cloudy mass in there, that's all plastic. And I'm not super surprised to see it here. We knew we had some plastic in the tank because of the holes we had to drill in it to install some of these things. And I'm not surprised it finally made its way out. So from what I can tell, that is probably what's causing our issue. Let's see what I can do here. So right here, not sure if you can really see, but this is the top of the worm clamp. I'm gonna first try these needle nose. Hey, that's working all right. I don't even need to try the other thing. Okay, so now here comes the harder part, right? I know this was a pain to get on here. You can see very clearly this is pinched pretty good and definitely full of plastic. Oh, guess what? If you just yank on it real hard. So we were able to get all of the visible plastic out of that line. I was really happy that that tube came off as easily as it did. I still don't like that little pinch in the plastic there, and I do think replacing that probably sooner than later, if this is a problem that we keep having, is something that I'm going to want to do. It should be displacing air at the same rate, and through that kind of pinch, I'm not sure that it's doing that. So that alone could be part of the problem. We haven't had this issue until recently though, so I'm inclined to think that something else could be going on. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna lift our bed platform and we're gonna check on the tank from up top instead. This is by far the easiest way for me to look at all of our plumbing, and then hopefully I'll be able to see maybe if anything else is up with the rest of this inlet hose for the air. And if not, then maybe it was just the plastic. Next time we fill up, we'll try it again and we'll see if the problem is solved. So this here is the tube in question. What we're looking for is why water might be getting into this inlet. So what I'm looking for here is any kinks in this line or holes or anything weird that might be affecting the way the air is moving through this system. At first glance, I really don't see anything wrong, but I just find it so hard to believe that those little pieces of plastic could be causing this problem. So let's see what we can see. Hello, YouTube again. So strange. This is like perfect. Exactly how I would want that to look. Unfortunately, with a job like this, there's no satisfying answer. I'm gonna call this good for the time being. We at least got that plastic out of the hose, so I'm really happy about that. Your words like little knives. Part of me thought you would. I'm on the last job. I can count on one hand the number of times I get to the last task on my to-do list on a day where I have a to-do list. So I'm in a great mood. And this is actually a job that I kind of enjoy. I am by no means an expert seamstress, but I know my way around a sewing machine. I would prefer to have a sewing machine, but today all I have is my little trusty sewing kit. So these are screen doors. These hang over our entry door on the side of the bus that we use almost every single day. And we're coming into bug season pretty much everywhere. So if we want to have that door open, we really need something keeping the bees and the wasps out. On either side of the door, you have these magnets. And you know, they kind of, but the problem is that with the heavy use that this was getting, we started to get, you see here, this kind of broke apart on me. This corner is all I'm trying to fix. And then I'm going to put the screen back up, which I am looking forward to because Piper likes to hang out outside all day and I hate when she wants to do that and there's no screen there. A warning shot for the other boys. Give my thanks only like an ex could. Now I know I made the right choice. That does it for our repair list. I've said this a few times today, but this is really par for the course for traveling the way that we do and living the way that we do. It's just things are going to break with vibration. Vibration is the biggest enemy of everything you build in one of these vehicles. So the fact that all of the repairs were really minor and they were really easily solved as far as I can tell means that I feel pretty confident in the job that we did in here. Overall, really, really pleased with how this all went. Greg should be back literally any time now. I'm surprised he's still gone. And then we're gonna have ourselves a little barbecue here, a little Saturday night cookout, and that'll be how we spend the rest of our evening. Greg is finally back and the smoker is running, which means it can only be time for one thing. Cheers. I feel like I've earned this today. So I think that's going to be all from me today, but thanks so much for sticking around, and we'll see you real soon.